Right, so hello and welcome back to Books and Things, and welcome to another video. And today I'm going to be talking about how I read using a bookmark as a reading guide. So this is going to be a very short video, I think, and it is a slightly random one, but basically whenever I do a reading vlog, someone asks me a question about the way I read, because if you ever see in any of my reading vlogs when I'm reading, like, top down, you can see that I read with a bookmark going down the lines. Like, I underline every single line with a bookmark as I read. That's how I read, that's how I've always read, and every time I do a reading vlog, someone asks about it, and I write a long reply, and I thought maybe it would be useful if I just have a video about this, and then I can just direct people to this video. I have spoken about this in Q&As and in like how I read quickly videos and that kind of thing, but I thought maybe it would be a useful thing to have a separate video on. I'm not necessarily imagining that a ton of people will watch it when I put it up, but I will probably use it in replies to people's comments and stuff like that. Anyway, maybe it's interesting. So I have always read in this way, using a bookmark to underline every line as I read, using a bookmark as a reading guide. I sort of start by underlining the lines, I suppose, and then probably when I get like halfway down the page, so the bookmark is still on the page, I use the bookmark to hide what's above the line that I'm on rather than what's beneath, if that makes sense. I will put in a clip of me reading over this so that this makes more sense. I have always read like this for as long as I can remember, and therefore I always read with a proper bookmark that's actually a bookmark rather than like a ticket or something, and I would never dog ear pages because I need a bookmark to read. And I have read like this for as long as I can remember. I never thought it was weird. I just assumed that was how everyone read until I guess I did see other people read, and they would just sit there with their books like this, like with their eyes taking in each sentence magically without needing to underline it. I guess I did see people do that, and I just never really thought about it until I started BookTube and started doing reading vlogs and filmed myself reading, and everyone was like, oh, it's interesting that you do that. I know other people do it too, but I always thought it was more normal than I think it is. Anyway, there were various reasons why I underline things as I read. I have done it, as I said, for as long as I can remember, and I didn't realise for a really long time that it was because I have astigmatism, which is an eyesight thing that means your eyes struggle to focus, and I think I must have always had astigmatism from way before I wore glasses. I didn't get glasses until I was 21, I think, so as a teenager I didn't have glasses, but I did used to read with a bookmark going down the lines, and I think I probably always had astigmatism even before I was short-sighted as well. And because astigmatism means that your eyes struggle to focus on things, I think that is one of the reasons why I underline each line with a bookmark, because I have always found that if I don't underline each line with a bookmark, my eyes lose track of which line I'm on, and I read the first half of one line and then my eyes get confused and I read the second half of the next line. That's what happens if I'm not reading with a bookmark. My eyes get really confused. And my glasses are designed to correct astigmatism partly, but I still find that if I try and read without a bookmark, especially if a book is quite tightly typeset, my eyes will get confused. So I always read with a bookmark going down the lines, and I find that really helps me because I always know what line I'm on. I do think it probably helps me read faster, which is a separate point from astigmatism. I know some people do recommend this as a way to read faster, and I don't do it specifically to read faster, but I am a fast reader and it probably does help me read faster. I'd be interested to know who watching also reads with a bookmark as a reading guide, and whether you also have astigmatism if you do. And also, if you do have astigmatism and you don't usually use a bookmark as a reading guide, I really do recommend it because I personally find it very helpful. And even if you don't have astigmatism, I just really recommend reading with a reading guide. I think it really helps. I find it really weird that people read not doing this, because in my mind that's how you read. You underline every line with a bookmark as you go, you move your bookmark slowly down the page, and that helps you read. So that's how I read when I'm reading, a physical book, a paperback, hardback. But when I'm reading an ebook, I can't do that. I used to have a e-reader that wasn't touchscreen, and so I did read with a bookmark going down the lines, but now most e-readers are touchscreen, so you can't do that, because if you do that it thinks you're trying to turn the page, which is really annoying. So now, instead of using a bookmark, I turn the font up really large, and that seems to do the job, because when there's only like 7 words on a line, my mind can't get confused about which line I'm on, but I still prefer reading physically so that I can do that. I do sometimes read on my phone, and I think because the screen is quite small and there aren't that many words per line, I'm okay. And then when I'm reading for work, which I do a lot because I work as an editor, so I work a lot with Word, and I usually like zoom in quite far to my Microsoft Word documents and put the spacing up, and then I also like highlight the sentence as I go, not like with an actual highlighter, but you know, like with the cursor. I usually highlight things as I'm reading them, and that helps me know what line I'm on as well. So yeah, that is briefly how and why I read using a bookmark as a reading guide. I personally find it really helpful, or not just like that I find it helpful, but that's just how I read. I don't know how to read and not do that. I find it really hard to get through a page of text without underlining it with a bookmark. Like if someone gives me a like newspaper article to read, I sit there and like have to underline the lines with my hand, otherwise I find it really hard to know which line I'm on. So yeah, do let me know down in the comments if you read like this. I would be interested to know. Otherwise, that's all for this very quick video for now. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll be back very soon with another bookish video.